Welcome to Elite Mired in Kobolds. Leaving the Druid at home, or the Wolf at home for this one, because he's just going to get into trouble with all the lightning blasts and the dragons at the end, so don't even want to deal with that. So level 15 now. A couple changes in equipment, but I want to go over everything, because I know not everybody's going to watch every single video, so I do have the Supreme Tyrant Green Steel Goggles of Concordant Opposition with the Eldritch Resistance Ritual on there. And the Feycraft Leather of Greater Warding, again, not available anymore. That's not in the loot tables. So what I would recommend for 15 is going with like a heavy blue dragon scale, which means changing the feats around a little bit from what I had originally posted. I made some recent updates to my post. So the heavy dragon scale can be really advantageous during heroics, especially if you're wanting to do things like, tank the Demon Queen at level. But even still, the extra PRR is just valuable all around for being able to stand up to more hits. Got the Braces of Wind still going there. Probably can start thinking about maybe adding a little something there, because now I'm 2 over the minimum level, which means I can put a little something in there, even if it's just something like Intimidate +3 or something like I had on an earlier version at a lower level. This is the same as last video, Ring of Greater False Life with 2 slots, which I have Strength and Charisma 4 in. And now this is upgraded. This has same as before, except it's got Evocation Focus 2 on it. And it's got the yellow slot with Feather Falling, Fire Absorption 33%, Vile Blasphemy, very nice leveling gloves, Dex 6, UMD 3, Greater Dispelling Guard, and this is the same. I couldn't really find something that really piqued my interest to replace the Evocation Focus, so that's totally redundant, doesn't stack with the boots. I was trying to look for something else to put on there in addition to the Ice Lore, but just nothing was very exciting, so I just left it. And I added Electrical Absorption 33% to the Con 6 belt that has a large slot that's slotted up with spell points. Why did I add Electrical Absorption to it? Because I can. And it's pretty nice to have Electrical and Fire Absorption on full time. And this also has Fire Absorption 15% on it, so I've got 33 and 15%, so I can take all kinds of fire hits with this gear setup. So Cloak of Flame is still the same. Very, very nice item. Awesome to have Combustion 90 at level 13. Got the Shamanic Fetish, that's the same. Devotion 72, Radiance 72, colorless slot with the Master's Gift. Still got the Torque. Beautiful item. And then the Supreme Tyrant Green Steel Helm of Mineral 2. That has Heavy Fort and Protection 5 on it, as well as 45 bonus hit points. Still got the Green Steel Lightning 2 Scimitar. That'll stay there until I get to level 20. And now I'm using the Wall of Wood. This is a very nice shield, but I'm trying to be critical of my gear for this video series, and I think I can actually craft something next level that can be of more benefit to this build than the Wall of Wood. Generally speaking, this is an absolutely beautiful shield. This is just the normal version. And as I posted in my build post, I advocate for just going for the normal version. It's easy to farm, or less expensive to buy. The hard version and elite version can be really, really expensive, more difficult to farm for. Although I suppose if you were farming for it on elite, when you're with an epic level tune, that would be a lot easier. But it's really important to consider that the hard and elite version is level 16 and 17 accordingly. There's so much here that I'm not benefiting from. The Natural Armor 4 is redundant with Spider Skin. The Healing Amp is nice. Shield Bashing, that doesn't mean it doesn't do anything for me. Devotion 78 is just a marginal improvement over the Devotion 72 on the Trinket. And the DR5 Slashing that doesn't do anything more than the DR5 that I get from Elemental Toughness. So it also does have plus 12 implement bonus to universal spell power. So what am I really benefiting from? 12 to universal spell power and healing amp. That's the two things. Now, I already have I don't really feel like I need any more healing amp. You don't need as much heal amp when you are a self-healing toon. When you are a healing class, healing amp is not as much of a priority versus if you were like a melee class, then heal amp is huge. But I already have 15, I think it is, from the crown, and then I think a 20 or 30 going on from the racial. So this is just, I mean, it's nice, but I'm not really I really feel like it's marginal at this point, and I can give up 12 universal spell power. So I have a different shield for next video, I think. For spells, we got the King, Earthquake, awesome spell. One of the best crowd control spells in the game. What makes it so effective is that it is a reflex save. It's an AoE, stays in place, 30 seconds, reflex save. Not many mobs have high reflex saves. You do not need a super high Earthquake DC to be very, very effective. Now, it does a little bit of damage, but as I've mentioned before, it's not worth maximizing and empowering for that little bit of extra damage. It's just gets too expensive, so you want to turn those meta magics off. If you don't know how to do that, you just right click it on your hotbar, and then you come down here and you can set it to always on, always off, or standard. Standard means whatever you have it set here. Like if I turn off maximize, then it'll be off. If I turn it on, then it'll be on. I also have maximize and empower. Ooh, I gotta turn that off. I just picked up empower at 12, I think. For the regular produce flame, it's just not worth maximizing and empowering. It becomes too expensive. Of course, for the SLA version, you want to have it on. I have them all set to standard, but for the regular version, just turn them all off. It is cost prohibitive to maximize and empower and quicken that. Oh, I also picked up heal. Really nice to have that big healing spell now. And then for my extra level 5 spell, I picked up animal growth. That gives a +4 size bonus to strength and constitution to my wolf, but a -2 penalty to dexterity. Short buff, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But pretty nice when you're going to an end fight or something. Enhancements. One of the things that I wanted to mention before I forget is, so definitely go for the spell power boost for your first one, if you're human. For the second one, make sure you do not go for the saves boost if you have PDK past lives, because the clicky thingy that you get for the PDK past lives is an action boost to saving throws. And then if you got the saves boost, that would be an action boost to saving throws. So those are redundant. So that's why I've chosen the defense boost. If you didn't have PDK past lives, you could go for the saves boost if you wanted to. So, new from last video here, I think it's just, oh, I have 2 action points. So I should spend those in efficient meta magic maximize. But since the last video I picked up time and tide, that's +1 caster level on max caster level for spells of your appropriate to your season, and that refers to the season that you're currently in. Like right now I'm in summer. You can see it on the bar, and that toggles back and forth, alternates back and forth every 5 minutes between summer and winter. I chose this quest because the end fight is pretty intense. Pretty tough end fight to solo. And I haven't done this video before. I'm trying to do all quests for this series that I have not done before. Or made a video of, that is. I tried to get my friend Mosdef to join me for this, but he didn't want to be in a video. Mosdef is my dear old friend in this game. We met when we were like level 5 right off the boat in Korthos. Of Korthos, like 5 years ago. It's one of my oldest friends in this game. That electrical absorption will actually help me in this quest considerably if I get caught in, ooh, he's a champion, if I get caught in one of the crystals exploding, which every time I do this quest I seem to find myself getting caught in at least one of those blasts. The way that the kobolds jump around in this game reminds me so much of an older 3D game from years ago called Die by the Sword, and I just loved that game so much when it came out. The graphics are very primitive by today's standards, but at the time they were really cool. It was a 3D dungeon crawl, and one of the unique features that it had is that you could use an analog joystick, so one that sort of, as opposed to like a digital joystick, or I'm not using the proper terminology, but basically a joystick that it wasn't just up is up and down is down like an old Pac-Man arcade joystick or something. Just if you move it a little bit, whatever you're doing moves a little bit. If you move it more, it moves more. So like a flight stick. And you could control the sword like in three-dimensional space with your joystick, and I just thought that was so cool. You're actually like swinging the sword with your joystick, and the sword moved along with your joystick motions. But I think that might have been like the only game that ever did something like that. I remember at the time thinking, oh, other games will do this too, but not so much. But the kobolds in this game act so much like the kobolds from that game. It's the way they sort of jump around. And at the time, I remember thinking that it was kind of I don't know if I call it advanced for the time, but until then you were just sort of, the monster was in front of you and you swing your sword at it. The monsters weren't jumping around trying to be evasive. several times I've done this quest, seems like I've had problems targeting this crystal. What is going on here? Well, I guess that's not gonna happen. Let's go for the Yugo pot for this. A little extra hit points will be helpful. And might as well use a couple spell point clickies too, because I'm probably going to need all the mana. I can get. Got some little pots though that I don't normally like to drink pots except in raids, but if it's not a major pot, I don't mind so much. So the question is always, do I stay in Fire Alley form and let the aura tick on them, or do I get out of Fire Alley form so I can do more damage with my cold spells? Alright, babies, no sweat. I didn't even have my Ring of Ice lore on. Time for mama. Forgot there was a shrine after the baby. Good to keep Vigor or Regenerate going on you. When you get knocked down, it'll be helpful. So this is 74 armor class, 72 PRR. Piece of cake. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have questions about my build, you can respond on the DDO forums. And if you happen to be on Sarlona, you're welcome to send me a tell.